Alright guys, we gotta talk about Pokemon yet again. Sixth video in the row now. I promise this channel isn't becoming just an all Pokemon channel, it's just that my capture card is fucked up right now and Pokemon things keep happening. So, it's just kind of working out that way. But anyhow, so Pokemon Company released another new trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Gave quite a bit of new info, so I wanted to go through all the new things they showed and also talk about the few things that were shown in the E3 demo, which were pretty much totally overshadowed by the whole Dexit bullshit going on. So anyway, first of all, they showed 3 new gym leaders, one of which was in the E3 demo. Her name was Nessa. She's the water type gym leader. She's another one that everybody's, making a lot of waifu fan art of. Now, in the demo, they showed her using a Dreadnought, so I'm going to assume that's the Pokemon that she has. And then in the trailer they just released now, they showed 2 more new gym leaders. And these 2 are actually version exclusive, so one of them is going to be only battleable in Sword, and the other one is only in Shield. So the one that's in Sword is a girl named Bee. She's the fighting type gym leader, and she's sort of got the, like tomboyish personality. She does karate. Now, the English trailer actually didn't show her with any Pokemon, but the Japanese one showed her with a Hitmontop, so apparently she's got a Hitmontop. And then her counterpart in Pokemon Shield is going to be a little boy named Alistair, which he's the ghost type gym leader, and they described him as, being sort of reserved and, didn't like being around people, hung out in cemeteries, stuff like that. Everybody's making jokes because he actually wears a mask that looks just like the Shy Guy mask from the Super Mario games. So we got our little Shy Guy gym leader here. One thing I gotta point out about him, like his English name is Alistair, and that's fine. His Japanese name is Onion. Like, first we had Hop, and now we got Onion. Let me tell you something. You done run clean out of names if you naming a baby Onion. That's all I got to say about that. Like, I don't know what's going on with these namings. But anyway, so that was the new gym leaders they showed. Besides that, they did show a few more human characters. One of which was a guy named Chairman Rose. And he's the chairman of the Pokemon League in the Galar region. He's also the president of a large business conglomerate. So he's like a big corporate head honcho dude. And he was the guy who come up with the idea to incorporate Dynamax into the gym battles. So his idea is sort of what led to the gym challenge and the Pokemon League stuff really taking off in Galar and becoming the big entertainment focus that it is. So they showed him. They also showed his secretary, which I'm unsure of how to pronounce her name. I don't know if it's Olena or Oleana, however you want to pronounce it. But anyway, she's the secretary lady. She's also the vice president of his company and is the one who's actually in charge of most of the day-to-day stuff. I'm not quite sure how someone becomes a vice president and a secretary at the same time. You'd think if you're the vice president, then you would have your own secretary. But whatever. So, they showed them. People were already saying that, both of them look evil. They're probably involved with the evil team. People said the same thing about Leon. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like some element to the story, since we know that Leon is undefeated in his battles. Maybe Rose and or Oleana, whatever her name is, they're responsible for basically making sure all his opponents are scrubs. So he can remain undefeated, so they can have, a marketable champion that they can make a lot of money off of. And maybe, Leon is totally unaware that this is going on. So I could see them going that direction with the story and, having some twists involved with that. But anyway, that's all the new human characters they introduced. So the human characters, their designs all look cool. Uh, I like the way they're going with the human people at least. So they also talk some more about the actual Pokemon League itself and how it's going to function. They said that anyone entering into the gym challenge and the Pokemon League has to get an endorsement from like specific people. Like it can be the gym leaders or the chairman or whoever. So not anybody can just like waltz in and challenge a gym. You have to have an endorsement before you're able to do that. And they said that Chairman Rose was the guy who originally endorsed Leon in the first place. So that's what started his journey to becoming champion. And they did go ahead and confirm that both you and Hop are going to be endorsed by Leon towards the beginning of the game. Which is kind of a conflict of interest, isn't it? Because Hop is Leon's little brother. So he's giving his own brother an endorsement. So you think that wouldn't be allowed or something. But anyway, so you get your endorsements from Leon. And then they said that later they have something called the Championship Cup. Or the Champion Cup, excuse me. Which is a tournament they have that's once per year. And basically everybody who's gotten all 8 gym badges can participate. And whoever wins the Champion Cup earns a shot at the champion to battle him. And then if you beat him, then you become the new champion. Now, I'm unsure, but the way they made this sound was they might be replacing the Elite Four with this Champion Cup thing. Because if you have to win the Champion Cup to get a shot at the champion, then what would the point of the Elite Four be? Because usually you have to beat them to get the shot at the champion. So there might not be an Elite Four at all. Maybe the Elite Four are involved in the Champion Cup somehow. I don't know how they're going to work that, but they might be getting rid of the Elite Four and sort of restructuring the way the league works to be a little bit closer to how it is in the anime, actually, where it culminates in like a big tournament. So that could be something different. We got rid of gyms last gen, so maybe they're going to get rid of the Elite Four this gen. But we'll have to wait and see. So anyway, the main focus, of course, was the new Pokemon. They did show a few new Pokemon. One of which was one of the ones that was in the E3 demo. Its name is Yamper. It's a little corgi dog Pokemon. It's electric type. It's got a new ability called Ball Fetch, where if you're in a battle with a wild Pokemon and you throw a Pokeball to try to catch it, but it breaks out, as long as Yamper isn't already holding an item, he can go and get your Pokeball back for you. So it's a little way to, help you preserve some of your Pokeballs. I don't really have much to say about him. Like, he's cute. He's fine. I'm more of a cat person than a dog person anyway, so I tend to always favor the cat Pokemon over the dog Pokemon. But yeah, I like Amper. I got no issue with him. Now, there was one more Pokemon in the E3 demo that they actually didn't show in this trailer. I don't know why they left him out, since they went ahead and showed Yamper. But the other one in the demo was a little pink imp-looking thing named Impidimp, who is dark and fairy type. Now, we don't really know anything else about him. We don't know his abilities or anything because they didn't go ahead and reveal him in this trailer alongside Yamper, which was a weird choice. But from the pictures we've seen of him, he's probably my least favorite of the new Pokemon they've shown so far. I'm just not really digging his design. He's pink all over and got like little purple details on his face and stuff. And he's got like one wing coming out of the back of his head for some reason. Maybe he'll evolve into something cool, but so far what I've seen of Impidimp, I'm not really feeling him. But anyway, besides that, they did show three actual new Pokemon in the trailer. One of which is named Roly Coly, which is a stupid name, but I kind of love it. It's rock type. Its abilities are heat proof, and then it's got a new ability called Steam Engine, where if it's hit with a fire or a water type move, then its speed goes up, I believe, 3 stages. So that's kind of ridiculous. His design, I like him. He's basically just a piece of coal with an eyeball, but like the underside of him is like a wheel. So he just kind of rolls around and shoots coal at people. So I like him. He reminds me a lot of Roggenrola. I don't know why. It might just be the name, because they got similar naming. I don't know the word I'm looking for here. Their names are structured similarly. But anyway, I like him. I bet he'll evolve into something cool. I kind of got that feeling. People are speculating that, since he's coal, he might turn into some kind of like minecart or a train or something. His ability is called Steam Engine, so he might turn into like a coal-powered train. Anyway, they showed him. They showed basically a thing that looked like Mechagodzilla named Duraludon. Steel and Dragon type, which this is the first one that is that type combination who's not legendary. Dialga's the same type, but he's legendary. So, first non-legendary Steel Dragon. Abilities are light metal and heavy metal. And they said that he lives in the same habitat as Tyranitar, and they get into fights all the time. So, he pretty much is Mechagodzilla fighting against the Godzilla Tyranitar. So, I'm kind of mixed on his design, because like when they showed the official art and showed him just standing there, he looked really cool, and I actually liked the way he looked a lot. But then when they showed his attack animation where he like leaned over and opened his mouth to do his attack, he looked really stupid, like with his mouth open. Like, it looks so derpy. So that's kind of weird, but as long as he's just standing there, he looks really cool. So I'm kind of mixed on him. And then the last one they showed was I hate this name. Its name is Alcremie, which I think is supposed to be a pun off of alchemy and whipped cream, because it's like a little feminine looking girl basically made of whipped cream and got like strawberries in her hair. I like the design a lot. I just don't like the name. Surely they could have come up with a better pun than that. But anyway, it's pure fairy type. Sweet Veil is its ability. And they said that basically it just throws whipped cream at people to escape from battle because it doesn't want to fight. So it throws whipped cream at them, and while they're, getting diabetes, it runs away. So those are the new Pokemon they showed. I like all three of them pretty good. Now, the main news coming out of this trailer, this was the big focus of it. They basically confirmed what was in that one leak that had previously, gotten some of the information correct in it. And they confirmed that there is, in fact, a new mechanic that is basically another version of the Dynamax stuff called Gigantamax. And it pretty much works the exact same way the leak described it as working. They said that it causes your Pokemon to not only grow giant, just like Dynamax does, but it also changes their form and changes their appearance. So it's kind of like Megas, except that they get big as fuck when they do it. They said that only certain species of Pokemon can Gigantamax. So while Dynamax can be used by anybody, only certain ones can Gigantamax. But then they said on top of that, that even among the species of Pokemon that can Gigantamax, they said that only rare specimens would be able to do so. So that makes it sound like it's even more restrictive, and like they went ahead and showed 3 Pokemon that are able to Gigantamax, and one of them was Dreadnought. So it sounds like even if you catch a Dreadnought, the Dreadnought you catch might not be able to Gigantamax. Only specific Dreadnoughts can. So it seems like an unnecessary second layer of restriction on that. But anyway, so beyond getting big as fuck and changing their appearance, they also get a unique G Max move. So just like how Dynamax changes all their moves into max moves, if they Gigantamax, then they can get access to a G Max move, which is unique to each one of the Gigantamax Pokemon. So each one has their own move that nobody else can get. They also mentioned that the rare specimens that are able to Gigantamax can be attained from the max raid battles. So I don't know if that'd be the only way to get them, or just an easier way to get them, or how that's going to work. But they mentioned that. So anyway, like I said, they showed 3 different ones that can Gigantamax so far. First of which was Gigantamax Dreadnought. And this thing basically looks just like Gamera from the old Kaiju movies. It stands up on its hind legs. Its shell gets bigger. It gets more like rock spikes on it and stuff. And its head sort of like retreats into its shell a little bit. Now, its types and its abilities and all that stay the same, so it's different from Mega Evolution in that way, where Megas always change their ability and sometimes change their type as well. Gigantamax is not going to do that. The abilities and types stay the same. The only things that change is the moves and the appearance. So they said that Gigantamax Dreadnaught's G-Max move is called G-Max Stone Surge, which is a water type move, so any offensive water type move that Dreadnought knows will turn into this when he Gigantamaxes. And they said that this move deals damage, and it also basically sets up Stealth Rock, which they gave us the bullshit excuse that they were getting rid of a bunch of the Pokemon for balance. And then they turn around and give us a super powered water type move that sets up Stealth Rock. Balance my ass. This is totally unbalanced. But anyway, so that's his move. So, Charizard BTFO, I guess. Anyway, the next one they showed was Gigantamax Corviknight, which this one, I like the design. I really like regular Corviknight, and I like this thing too. But I feel like they should have made his Gigantamax form a little bit more different from his regular form. Because pretty much the only differences is he's got like some new little details and bits on his armor, and then his wings are different. His wings look larger, and they got like red glowing markings all over them. Which at first I thought was just like the light, because all the Dynamax and Gigantamax have like this red light sort of glowing around them. At first I thought it was just that reflecting off his wings, but I don't think it is. I think the red markings are actually part of his design. So his wings change and he gets little bits on his armor, but other than that, he looks largely the same. Now, they did show that part of his armor actually breaks off and becomes these little things called blade birds, which that's a cool idea. I really like that because, like, Gigantamax Corviknight is like this big giant bird in the middle, and then he's got like this little flock of tiny metal birds flying all around him. And I think that's a cool idea. But unless I just missed it, the way they made it look in the trailer was it looks like the blade birds aren't flying around him when he's just, floating there. It looked like the blade birds only appeared when he was doing his attack animations. So that sucks. I wish they were just sort of like flying around him randomly as he stood there idly in battle. But anyway, So his new move is called Gmax Wind Rage, and it's a flying type move, and it deals damage and basically has the same effect as Defog, where it can remove like entry hazards and light screen and reflect and crap like that. So he's basically got a version of Defog that deals damage. And again, fuck you, balance. So anyway, he's pretty cool. Now, the last one they showed here, this is the one I had the problem with. This one got on my nerves, and honestly, I don't even know why. So the last one was Gigantamax Alchemy, and its design is basically just Alchemy, like regular Alchemy, with its hair a little bit different and wearing a blue bow tie, but it's sitting on top of like a giant 4-layer cake. And for whatever reason, I hate this design. It bothers me. I don't know why. Like, I'm not against the idea of a Pokemon based on a cake or, based on weird inanimate objects or whatever. Like, people always shit on the Vanillite line because, like, oh, it's ice cream, it's stupid. And I never understood that because I actually like that line. And I think that's a cool idea. And I think the designs are well done. With this one, I like regular Alchemy, which regular Alchemy is just whipped cream. But then it becomes whipped cream on the cake when it Gigantamaxes. And it just bothers me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because they removed all the Pokemon and features and stuff, and I'm pissed about that. So maybe that's affecting my view of this. But something about this design just doesn't sit right with me. I'm honestly not even sure if the cake part is actually a part of its body or if it's just sitting on top of it. Like, I feel like it would have been better if they made the cake part of its body, but only made it like a 2-layer cake instead of a 4-layer cake, and had the cake be sort of like a ball gown dress for it. Like, the way it is now, if the cake is part of its body, then, like, its body is tiny and its legs are, like, gigantic. So, I don't really like that. If the cake isn't part of its body, and it's just sitting on top of it, then that's kind of stupid. So the cake thing bothers me. I'm not against the idea of a cake Pokemon, but this design just doesn't do it for me. So anyway, it's Gmax move is called Gmax Finale. It's a fairy type move, and it deals damage and also heals all the Pokemon on your side. So again, balance. This lovely balance. But anyway, as far as Gigantamax as a concept, I'm having some issues with Gigantamax because I think a large part of it is just the way they've been handling these games, the whole Dexit controversy and all these problems. I think it's really affecting my view of all the aspects of these games. They really pissed in the bathwater on that one and pretty much killed my ability to enjoy any of this. Like, the whole time, usually, in the build up to a Pokemon game, I'm excited, and when they showed one of these new trailers, I get so happy, and I get to analyze all the new stuff, and I get to see the new Pokemon, and it's an exciting, joyous occasion. Well, that's not the case anymore. Now, I'm just pissed off or apathetic at best. So, I think it's really affecting my enjoyment of it. As far as Gigantamax as a concept, when they showed Dynamax, I talked about that when they showed that in my other video. And I was kind of on the fence about it, but I was open to giving it a chance. I'm like, well, it's kind of weird. They just grow big, but, maybe it could be interesting. I think they burn up all my goodwill with the Dexit stuff. And now that they showed Gigantamax on top of it, knowing that Megas and Z moves have already been removed, and then with Gigantamax basically just being like broken pieces of Megas and Z moves sort of smashed together into a new thing that's lamer and more restrictive. I'm kind of at the point where I just don't give a fuck about this gimmick at all. And like, even if I did like it and think it was like the coolest thing ever, it's gonna be gone next gen. You know it is. They just got rid of Megas and Z moves. What makes you think they're gonna keep this around when they move on to the next gen and come up with some stupid new thing to promote? So the whole thing sort of feels pointless anyway. But I'm not really behind the idea of shittier Megas. And that's basically what this is. Oh, people are like, oh, it's not Megas because their type doesn't change and you don't need a held item, and that's true. But functionality wise, it's basically the same. It's temporary battle only new forms for Pokemon. If you were going to do that, then why didn't you just expand the concept of Megas? All three of these Gigantamax designs that they showed so far could just be Mega evolutions for these Pokemon, where they don't get big as fuck. They just change their appearance. It all goes back to why didn't they just expand on the things they've already established instead of removing them and putting in new shit? I don't like it. I don't like this direction. And before, like, again, when they showed Dynamax, I was on the fence, but, like, even if Dynamax ended up sucking, at that time I was thinking, like, well, even if it sucks, I can fall back on Megas and Z moves and use those instead. But now we know that Megas and Z moves aren't even going to be in the game. So, it's Dynamax or Gigantamax or nothing. So now I'm being more critical of these things. During the demo, they showed that, like, on the summary screen of the Pokemon, they had something that said Dynamax level, and we don't know what that is yet. That might tie in with the whole Gigantamax thing. Maybe if their Dynamax level is high enough, then they're able to Gigantamax. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to raise that Dynamax level or if it's just inherent for each one you catch. So you could catch one with a low Dynamax level or you could catch one with a higher one. I would hope if, like, requiring a high Dynamax level is what gives you access to Gigantamax, I would hope that there's some way to raise that level, because if there's not, it would really suck for, like, somebody to, say, catch a Corviknight and raise it, and, that's their Corviknight, they're attached to it now, and then come to find out later, like, oh, well, that Corviknight can't Gigantamax, you gotta go catch another one now. Like, that would be really shitty. Especially since you know that some of the old Pokemon are going to be getting Gigantamax forms as well. The champion's main Pokemon is a Charizard, so we're pretty much guaranteed a Gigantamax Charizard at some point. And it would suck if somebody, like, imported their Charizard that they had since, like, Fire Red. They brought it up through all the games. They brought it through Bank. They brought it through Home. They got it into Sword and Shield. And they're like, oh, it can't Gigantamax. Sorry, go catch another Charizard. Like that would be so shitty for people that have to go through that. So, hopefully if the one you catch isn't able to Gigantamax, there's some way to change that. I don't really like the idea of only certain specimens being able to Gigantamax in the first place. I feel like if a species of Pokemon is able to do it, then they should all be able to do it. Like with Megas. If you had to, like, get them to a certain level or get them to, like, raise their affection or something, like, do something like that to let them be able to do it, that would be fine. But to block it outright, I think, would be really dumb and needlessly restrictive. So, anyway, that's what all they showed in this new trailer. Ultimately, it didn't really change my stance on anything. I'm still very much pissed about Dexit. I'm very much pissed about the direction these games are going. I am unimpressed by Gigantamax. The new designs for the new Pokemon they showed are fine, and some of them are good, but it's not really enough to make up for all the negatives that these games are bringing. So I'm still in the same boat I was before, where I'm not getting it at launch. If I get it at all, it'll be like off eBay or something. And it really just feels bad to not be excited about a main series Pokemon game like this, and to just be sitting here angry and upset and pissed off instead of being able to be hyped and enjoy this time period that I usually get to enjoy every time a game's coming out. But anyway, I guess that's all I got to say. So, lots of luck to you and yours.